The short-term rental ban is not going to make any significant dent in bringing more units back to the housing market and helping with this housing crisis that we're in right now. And that is what the StatsCan report, the government's own report, is showing here, and this article that was put out by the Vancouver Sun this week. Even though we have still doubled the amount of listings we've had in the Lower Mainland that are short-term rentals, from 2017, we've had double the amount. Here are the numbers here that you can see here. It still isn't a significant percentage of the total rental stock that can make an impact and help the issues that we have right now in the Lower Mainland. As you can see here, it is less than 1% in the majority of the areas in the Lower Mainland. We're going to go over Kelowna and Whistler in a second here as well. So it's been 3 months since it has come into effect. We really haven't seen that much change with the number of listings for this. Some people say there is a lot of listings in those specific buildings. Sure, there is, again, a few listings more than normal in those buildings. There's a lot of them there, and they do normally, there is usually a bunch up for sale, even way prior to this, say, a year ago. And so we are seeing still more listings in those areas. But again, not a significant amount to move any type of needle to make any type of dent in this long-term issue. And again, what I've said here many times is this is a very short-term solution for a very, very long-term issue, and it is not going to help whatsoever. So according to the people that did the research here that helped with this article, the short-term rental market is just not big enough to move the actual needle. That's Tony, the Conference Board of Canada. Never heard of them. The Conference Board of Canada is a dedicated researching and dedicated to researching and analyzing economic trends. They describe themselves as objective, nonpartisan. It has no lobbying special interests. And that's the one thing here too, is that this short-term rental ban really only benefits the lobbying of the hotels, which was very active just prior to this being implemented. Now, StatsCan did some really good stuff here. In my opinion, they left out what was cottages, vacation homes, because those are technically something that's not going to get back, if they're banned, technically something that's not going to be on the long-term rental market or get resold maybe. If they can't do Airbnb anymore going forward. So that was the 180 days. So anything that was listed for more than 180 days was allowed to be in there. Anything less was excluded. And I almost guarantee that all the fear and doom and gloom stats that the housing minister Ravi was putting out there were based on using every single unit that is ever been listed in the province on Airbnb. So they produced some other numbers here. Kamloops and Kelowna and Victoria, of course, all had higher rates. They are more tourist attractions. Kamloops was a 1.4 and only 0.9 for Kelowna and Victoria, which I was a little bit shocked. Kelowna, more shocked. Victoria, definitely. I thought there would be more, given that it is our capital. We have a lot of people going in there, staying there for events and everything. The odd one out is Whistler here had rates in, but didn't really say how much it was. Rates in between 20 and 40%. Sun Peaks, Tofino, all rates within 20 and 40%. We should see a significant change in Tofino given these numbers here, with a lot of units getting put back to the market. But if anybody has any research on that, please share that, because I'd love to see what those numbers are coming back at. The Whistler one, for whatever reason, there's certainly a housing crisis in there, but we didn't include that in what we are, trying to fix. It's not important enough, or just not big enough, I guess. Nonetheless, Kelowna and their tourism is absolutely getting smashed right now because of it. And I think Whistler is probably not having that same issue. Again, by the end of the year here, we'll probably see the difference that Kelowna and Whistler has had. Everybody says it's just recession up in Kelowna. I don't think so. I think they're seeing decent numbers still in Whistler with people traveling. However, Kelowna and the wineries are starting to push back a little bit. So my biggest problem with this is that we are still trying to fix, like I said, a long-term problem with this very short-term solution that can have massive consequences down the road. We are giving up a lot of our property rights if we are allowing this to get implemented and stay in in control here with this going forward. We're allowing the government to intervene and have control of our own personal properties and have more of a say of what we can do with those personal properties. And the NDP could have been and should have been much more strategic with this. I think they rushed this they rushed this bill prior to all the other bills, which were very more elaborate and strategic. And I think they rushed this bill to get it out before the other ones. They could have been, like I said, more strategic and still not have impacted the tourism of these smaller local economies, the investors who bought these legal short-term rental units. And I want to definitely differentiate between the legal units and the illegal units. I think the cities could have asked for help for those illegal units, and the province could have helped police them, and that's where I think they should be doing, policing the illegal units and helping the cities do that. These short-term rental units that we're employing cleaners, bringing property managers into play and helping those people with their jobs. And it's also bringing in a lot of money to the local government with the licensing fees that these short-term rental units were paying. So the book is still yet to be closed with this. Hopefully we have a solution and a resolution before the election we have this coming fall here. However, if the Conservatives do take control, the leader, John Rustad, sat across the table from me saying that he would change this the moment he has a chance to, the first moment he has a chance to. Either way, I hope this does get changed, and I hope we do, have still beautiful BC available for everybody to see.